Hey everybody, it's Derek.
And Maddie.
Earth and Stone once again. As we said, we're still in New Braunfels. At another spot, we're at the Panteon-Hidalgo Cemetery. Then we found out this cemetery over here is a whole other cemetery called Our Lady of Perpetual Help. When we make it over there, I don't know. But my foresight is not very good because, as you see, Maddie is adorned in a very waterproof jacket. I am adorned in a very water-soaked t-shirt. So let's see how this goes, because the last place we were at was really muddy, and we had like 6 inches of mud on our shoes. Hard to get around, hard to move. But this looks like there's a little more grass. Might do a little bit better here. But whatever happens, we're in it to win it. We're going to do this. So let's go. Again, Panteon-Hidalgo. This is the front gate, and there, as you can see, as I told Maddie, we're probably not going to hit a lot of graves because, as you can see, this is like a whole field of crosses. And although the dates and names will be different, how many crosses do you really need to see? Seriously. So if something really stands out, we'll get it. But for right now, let's look at this plaque. Panteon-Hidalgo Cemetery. Comal County developed as a population center during the 1890s. The arrival of the railroad and the growth of the agricultural and mining industries provided job opportunities for those leaving the economic and political instability of Mexico. Many migrants to the area settled in New Braunfels. Over time, a need for a cemetery developed. In 1920, a local organization, Asociación Mutualista de Beneficencia, that hurt, Hidalgo Mexican Cemetery Association, established a burial ground for its members, modeled after similar groups in Mexico. Monthly membership fees, along with extra dues paid whenever a member died, covered for burial costs and provided financial support for the family of the deceased. Well, that's good. They looked out for the family. The cemetery, originally recognized as San Juan Bautista in the late 1800s, began on 3 lots of land, with additional lots purchased in 1920, 1935, and 1951. The layout features an informal design reminiscent of cemeteries in Mexican villages. Many of the grave markers are homemade with hand-carved inscriptions, rustic artwork, and Catholic-inspired designs. We've seen a lot of those over the past year, have we not? There are dedicated sections for children and unmarked graves. Known burials took place between the late 1800s to the 1950s. Notable burials include many veterans, along with community activist Francisco Estevez, co-founder of the cemetery, and Professor Gregorio Jose Maria Cardona, who successfully petitioned for a Mexican school. Panteon-Hidalgo Cemetery represents the history and culture of New Braunfels' Mexican working class community. I did it again. Including many migrants in search of new opportunities, who brought their traditions and identities to the community. The cemetery also represents the Mexican-American community's impact on the cultural, economic, and industrial growth of New Braunfels. And my jaw hurts, and I'm tired of reading, and that's it. Right off the bat, as soon as we walked in, see? Crosses. Crosses, 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 crosses. Unless one of these crosses says, "Here lies the body of the New Braunfels witch," I don't think I need to bring any of this up. These crosses are all pretty much the same, except for handmade ones, and we've seen plenty of handmade ones. So I'm going to spare you all these crosses, unless there's something at least fairly interesting about them. That sound fair? Like this one. This one's nice. It's got a engraving of the, or relief, I should say, a relief of the Virgin Mary. Josefa Davila de Castellano, 1928. It's 48 years. So Maddie just pointed out that a lot of these have little, I don't know what you would call those, altars, I guess? A nook. That's a good word for it, a nook. But you put like your candles and your flowers and your offerings in there. And there's a few of them like that here. could see. One there, and one there. Which is, like they said, modeled after the Mexican cemeteries. You want to leave your candles and your Virgen de Guadalupe's. And this one here, I don't know if that held a picture or what, but whatever it was, it's not there now. So. Seen plenty of these with the curbs and the little like stonework, but I don't think I've ever seen one open on the end, which I'm sure there's a reason, or maybe not. I don't know. Somebody's father. We have the colored glass ornamentation. There's one over there, and there's a blue one. I didn't notice that before. Right there. And I'm almost positive this was originated in Mexico. That's what they do with their graves. Take some colored glass, put it in there, just make it pop, make it stand out. We've seen this with marbles, if you remember. Designing on a budget, I guess you would say. Another discovery of Maddy's, and this is a first for me. Never seen a headstone shaped like a triangle. Not like that. And if there was any inscription on it, it isn't there now. And if there's any on that stone down there, I cannot read it. But see, there's the marbles, like I said. Stick those marbles in the stone, make it look nice, make it stand out. There's another one over here. Again, I don't see anything that resembles an inscription. But that is pretty interesting to me, anyway. Then we have another one of these curved ones. But this, again, here's another first, because I've never seen it quite that high. That looks like it's a good 2 feet, maybe. Well, maybe a foot and a half, maybe. But yeah, I've never seen the walls up that high. That's a very narrow passage. And here we see more of that colored glass ornament decoration. This one looks like it had trees growing out of it. Look at that. Had to cut that down. Wow. We have another high wall here for this gentleman, Abel Alvarez Jr. Here's a woodman grave. Has double axes and the American symbol on there. Supreme Forest Woodman Circle. I don't think I've seen one that said that. Maximo Hernandez, 1901, 1945. Looks like a picture might have been held there at the bottom. Here they stuck tiles in the stone. One of them's broken, fell out of there, but got 3 tiles there. And then over here you have a lot of grass inside that grave, covered with a lot of stones. This is magnificent. Look at that. Le dijo Jesús, yo soy la resurrección y la vida, el que cree en mí. I can't make out that word. Este muerto vivirá. Death and life, I guess. Nelia Campos Escobar, 1920-1970. 50 years old. That's a beautiful, beautiful deal right there, man. Gorgeous. But saw this from the back and I thought it looked really interesting. Nice black headstone. Look at that. Stunning. With matching black curb. And then here we have a very colorful Virgin de Guadalupe with a brick cross. Hilario H, Virginia F. What a gorgeous setup, man. That went all out. Look at that. Poinsettias, Christmas tree, ornaments. That's so nice, man. I believe that's Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. Right next to the Virgin. Virgen de Guadalupe. And look, we got a small field of decorated crosses. Just makes me wonder, do they make these themselves or do they have somebody craft it for them? Here's another thing we've seen before. It's like they took a broken plate. They broke up a plate and stuck it in the stone. Which if somebody told me that's what they were going to do, I'd be kind of like, I don't know about that. But the overall effect is really nice. Something about it just really, really nice. This one has like a little crescent moon on the side. Alberta Caballero, April 8th, 1940, April 26th, 1940. She was born the same day as my mother. Not the same year, of course. Some of these children's graves are very elaborate. It's a 2-year-old's grave, 1934, 1936, Ruben Rodriguez. Mm-hmm. Then over here, looks like this is a whole section for children. This kind of stood out to me because of this light color, but I can't really make out that copper plate I say copper because there's a patina on it, and it might not be copper. And if we're not mistaken, this is where we're crossing over, right about the time we're crossing over into Our Lady of Perpetual Help Cemetery, which really doesn't look much different than the Panteon Cemetery. So let's just see what we shall see. Here it is, Our Lady of Perpetual Help. Got a woodman stone over there. Huh. It's fairly interesting there. This whole thing is covered in concrete except for this one little area. I guess they're waiting for somebody. Yeah, that would be my guess. Waiting for one more member of the family to show up. So I walked over here to the front of Our Lady of Perpetual Help Cemetery. Came all the way to the front to see this statue. See this little monument of Jesus with the Sacred Heart. And then I noticed that a lot of these graves look very new. Very recent. This one's 96. This one's 2018. Cynthia Campos. Oh, she's still here. Andrew Campos, 1960. Cynthia and Andrew Campos. I really don't know if anyone's buried here or not. I'm guessing there is, just because there's all this black stone on here. February 5th. He was born February 5th. He was born December 10th, 1955, 1960. Joventino Campos, 1922 to 2018. Sergeant, U.S. Army Air Corps, aerial gunner, World War II. th Air Force, World War II. And over here we have another statue, another monument. I'm guessing that's the Virgin de Guadalupe because it has a little angel at the bottom there. They're both looking over the graves. Our Lady of Perpetual Help Cemetery. This historic cemetery was established by Our Lady of Perpetual Help Church to meet the needs of the growing Mexican-American New Braunfels population that increased in the late 1880s through the 1900s. In 1926, the church organized, and in 1931, the parish purchased land adjacent to Hidalgo Cemetery. The cemetery was enlarged and fenced in 1961. So like we said, that's Hidalgo there. The fence gets a little higher, see, and I think that's what separates the two. They're in the same area, but the fencing is different, so I'm thinking that's where it divides. The majority of burials are from the 1930s to the 1970s. However, the oldest headstone is from 1891, as the land was used for burials prior to the establishment of the cemetery. Many servicemen are buried here, along with business owners, farmers, grocers, housewives, and laborers. Other burials include Francisca Chapa Sanchez, a well-known midwife in the area, Ruben Chapa, the first Hispanic quarterback at New Braunfels High School, and Gregorio Coronado, the first Hispanic attorney in New Braunfels. Tombstones are written in Spanish and English and are made from a variety of materials, including concrete, fieldstone, limestone, and wood. Mosaic tiles, ceramic photographs, and grave decorations such as conch shells and marbles pressed into concrete are present and reflect old and new Hispanic traditions and their strong Catholic faith. Frequently, miniature shrines decorate the graves with mementos representing the deceased, as we saw in some of the other deals, the shrines. There it is. That's the word I was thinking of. The settlement of Mexican Americans in New Braunfels had a significant impact on the industrialization and economy of the area, as well as on art, music, culture, and sports. Our Lady of Perpetual Help Cemetery is a reflection of the migration, history, and lasting culture of the New Braunfels Mexican American community. Historic Texas Cemetery, 2018. Okay, so it was a short but sweet little tour. We didn't know there was a cemetery right next to it, so you got kind of a twofer there. We've got Patreon? Is it called Patreon? Panteon-Hidalgo Cemetery. And then Our Lady of Perpetual Help. 2 cemeteries, same spot, same area. Some looked a little newer, like I had pointed out. But yeah, it was great getting those 2 real close together. And then we're going to one more cemetery, and that's right across the street. That was a planned one, so we'll see you there. But until then, it's Derek.
Maddy, positive vibes.